Welcome back to Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. If you are just tuning in, we just finished talking about the WNBA All-Star team. We talked all about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese being on the same team. I thought they did a really good job. I don't think there were too many snubs. You could make an argument for maybe one or two players, but I thought they did a really good job on who should have been in the WNBA All-Star game. But before that, we talked about LeBron James. We talked about how he put the Lakers over the second apron, not a place that you want to be. So many penalties involved in being over that second apron, and the Lakers are not a team that is good enough to be able to really justify being there in that position. In this segment, though, we are going to move into the world of baseball, out of the world of basketball, talk a little bit about their all-star roster. We just talked about the WNBA all-star roster. The MLB all-star roster will be finalized and officially given out in just about an hour and a half from now. But they did have finalists at each position for starters. So we'll go over the AL and the NL, talk about who I think should get in if they're making the right decision, and if there were any snubs that were left off of these all-star finalist lists. But before we get into that, remember that if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Leave a tip or donation with a message in it. That message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the chat. Go ahead and throw it in the comments. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate all of you guys for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. But like I was saying, are we back? Are we streaming? Okay, we're just gonna pretend that we're back. Okay, anyway. Are we back? Hello? Yes, welcome back. I apologize. I just saw that we crashed there for a second, but looks like we are back here. Welcome back. Sorry about that. I don't know exactly what happened there, but we just finished. We were just about to start our third segment here. For those that are just tuning in, I know this might be a new live stream that just started. We talked about the WNBA All-Star roster. We talked about LeBron James and what he did, putting the Lakers over the second apron, and how that is not it's an interesting spot for the Lakers to be in. But we are going to get into the MLB here, get into the All-Star game for the Major League Baseball. So, just so we're clear, the roster for Major League Baseball does not come out until 7 p.m. Eastern, which is in an hour and a half from now, but we do have finalists. The voting is over. We have finalists. We'll go over each of these finalists and which ones I think should make the starting lineup in the All-Star game. And we're going to start off in the AL. And the AL is mostly made up of two teams. It's mostly made up of the Orioles, who have 6 finalists, and the Guardians, who have silently, I won't say too silently because they've been really, really good, have had a lot of players get top votes here. But there are 2 players that automatically get in that we know for sure 100%, those being Aaron Judge and Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper is hurt, so I'm not sure if he is going to play. I'm not sure where he is in the process of getting back from his injury. But starting in the AL, we have catchers. The first Oriole versus Adley Rutschman at catcher versus Salvador Perez. And Salvi Perez is having a great resurgent season. He is having a really fun season to watch, and I love Salvi Perez. I really do. But having him to go up against probably the best catcher in the game, definitely top 3 in Adley Rutschman, it's just not a battle you're going to win. I do think that Adley Rutschman takes this pretty much in landslide. If you look at the way that the voting is right now, it's 70-30. That makes pretty good sense. In the first baseman hole, we have Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Ryan Mountcastle. And this is going to be an interesting one. Ryan Mountcastle from the Orioles, Vlad Guerrero Jr. from the Blue Jays. Vlad has had probably his best season since his third place MVP finish. But that doesn't mean he should be all-star starter. And you look at the first baseman around the league, Ryan Mountcastle is having a great season. It is going to be tough, and I think this is going to be probably the closest back and forth one. You look at their seasons right now. Vladdy's got a little more pop, 13 home runs to 11, and his average is just a little better. 298 to 273. But what Ryan Mountcastle has been able to do defensively is something Jr. just doesn't have on his own, right? Vlad Guerrero Jr. isn't that defensive masterclass, right? He's a guy that you could even consider putting at DH in a lot of lineups. You look at runs created. Ryan Mountcastle has created runs, fielding percentage, which for first baseman, it's most likely going to be up there. But you look at Vlad Guerrero Jr., his potential over Mountcastle wouldn't be pressed either way. I think right now it looks like Guerrero has the vote by about 20%, but I do think this is going to be the tightest race of them all. Are we still recording? Okay, hold on. We're going to do a little pause here because it looks like... Are we back? Come on, give me the sign. Give me the we're back. Reconnection successful. All right, there we go. Okay, again, I apologize. I don't really know what's going on here. Don't really have anything extra going on in the background of my computer more than normal, but we are back here. Not sure exactly where we got disconnected. So far in the MLB, we've gone Adley Rutschman over Salvi Perez and Vladdy over Ryan Mountcastle, although I do think that is about 50-50. At second base, you've got Jose Altuve versus Marcus Semien, and that is going to be an interesting race. Jose Altuve both of these guys started off slow. Jose Altuve and the Astros, they've got it's 57-43 right now. And I'm leaning more towards Marcus Semien. Both of them had great seasons, but what Semien's been able to do as like the lone offensive weapon for the Rangers. I know the Rangers are coming off of a World Series win, but Corey Seager has kind of disappeared this season, and he's on the trail back. But being able to power this Rangers team to even mediocrity alone is a feat in itself. So I'm going to give that nod to Marcus Semien over Altuve, although the way the voting ended, it was the other way around, 57-43. At third base, Jose Ramirez, pretty clearly. The other finalist is another Oriole, one of those 6 finalists, Jordan Westburg, who, not to, put down anything that Jordan Westburg has been able to do, because he's been awesome coming up at the same time as all these young guys for the Orioles, and he's been a mainstay in that lineup. His defense has been great. But I'm taking Jose Ramirez. He is an MVP candidate, and that's really what it comes down to. He is an MVP candidate here. And the most interesting race, my favorite race of any of the races actually in the All-Star game, is between Gunnar Henderson and Bobby Witt Jr. Both of them, again, MVP candidates. It looks like it's going to go to Gunnar Henderson, and I understand that. He's got the power numbers. You look at he's on pace for almost a 12 WAR season, which is insane. But let's not put down Bobby Witt. He plays in a smaller market. He is hitting over 300. He's just a couple home runs behind. If you look at the offensive numbers, they're almost equal aside from the slugging of Gunnar Henderson. It is going to go to Gunnar Henderson though, and that is just, again, nothing against Bobby Witt, but that's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you get matched up in a tough position. But Then we get to the outfielders. Juan Soto, Steven Kwan, Anthony Santander, and Kyle Tucker. So a Yankee, a Guardian, Oriole, and an Astro. You have to pick three. Aaron Judge already has the nod, so you're picking two. You can't miss out on Juan Soto. Juan Soto has been the best hitter in baseball, just pure hitting has been the best. And trying to take a little bit of bias out of it, but I love Juan Soto. He's one of my personal favorite players. And then Steven Kwan, he doesn't wow you with those power numbers, but he's hitting near 400. He doesn't miss the ball when he swings, and that is so impressive to me. Along with great defense in the outfield, I think Steven Kwan will get this other nod. And then finally, to fill out the DH spot, Yordan Alvarez versus Ryan O'Hearn, another Astro Oriole matchup. I'm gonna lean Ryan O'Hearn here. Yordan Alvarez has been better of late, but he isn't the all-star Yordan that we constantly that we think of. Again, he's got more name value than Ryan O'Hearn, but these Orioles are going to sweep the AL All-Star game. Then we're going to move on to the NL. And here, Bryce Harper got that automatic spot. He is hurt, so we're going to pick three outfielders instead of just the two like we did in the AL. But between catching, we got William Contreras and JT Realmuto. This one pretty obviously is William Contreras. The voting is showing it as well. Contreras has been just the best catcher in the NL by far. At second base, or I guess they gave first base to Bryce Harper. So we'll see if they find a replacement for him. But there's plenty of great options there in the NL. Second base, Ketel Marte or Luis Arias. I'm a lean Ketel Marte. He's been awesome all season offensively. You throw his glove in there as well, and Luis Arias is just great pure hitter. He's going to get his bat to the ball. He's a lot like Steven Kwan, but Ketel Marte provides a little more of that oomph that we like when we're looking at the All-Star game. Third base, Manny Machado versus Alec Bohm. It's going to go to Alec Bohm. You look at the numbers, 69% of the vote to 31%. He's just, again, the Phillies are going to get a good amount of representation here because they've been the best team there. At shortstop, it's going to go to Trey Turner because Mookie Betts is hurt, although that is a 50-50 vote right now. Mookie Betts probably gets the nod if he's not hurt, but Trey Turner is going to be your shortstop. And in the outfield, we need to pick three. The six finalists are Christian Yelich, Jurickson Profar, Fernando Tatis, Teoscar Hernandez, Brandon Marsh, and Nick Castellanos. Get Nick Castellanos out of there. He's not an all-star. Jurickson Profar is an interesting one. He's just had a huge week and he's having a great season. You can throw him in there along with his teammate, along with Christian Yelich, and we'll give it to his teammate Fernando Tatis as well. Although I do see the argument for Teoscar Hernandez over one of those. The two Phillies there at the bottom, they just had a lot of votes. They're in the finalists, but I think the outfield are going to be Yelich, Profar, and you know what? We're going with Hernandez, with Teoscar Hernandez over Fernando Tatis there. And finally, to finish off the rosters, it's the DH. And this is Shohei. He's going to win the MVP. He clearly is the best player in the NL. He's just that special of a player. So Shohei Ohtani is my DH for the All-Star game. If you think there are any snubs here, or if you disagree, let me know. But we are going to move out of the MLB and into the NFL as Brandon Aiyuk is back in the news again. We'll talk all about what he said about the 49ers and where that puts him in negotiations. So stick around for that. We'll be right back here on Sports by GSMC Podcast Network.